Hey, y'all. This is Jay. I'm the host of Unfeigned, the podcast. Many of you have been along with me on this journey. Many of you have followed the podcast. If you haven't followed the podcast, please do that. Go to Spotify, check out Unfeigned, the podcast. The actual address would be www.tinyurl.com/unfeigned podcast. Go there, follow if you haven't. I would love to see as many of you follow as possible. Some of you have already done that, and you may have already been listening to Unfeigned, and I'm so grateful for that. And if this is your first time listening, then this may feel a little different than what it has felt like in the past. I have said over the past several episodes that there are two vibes that Unfeigned the podcast has. It started as me telling my story, and it was very much that storytelling. Not that it wasn't true. Of course it was true, but it was a storytelling format where I was just sharing my heart. I was just laying it all bare, being extremely vulnerable and transparent. And so there wasn't necessarily a structure. Unfeigned the podcast is all raw and unedited. It's real, it's transparent, it's vulnerable. That's been the purpose of Unfeigned the podcast since the beginning, and it will not change. That will remain the purpose of Unfeigned the podcast, because the whole the foundation of the podcast is to heal from brokenness, and it's my unmasked story, my rewritten story, where I no longer want to hide. And so this episode, however, is not even really an episode. This is really a trailer, a teaser, like a promotion of what's coming. The two vibes of Unfeigned the podcast are one I just talked about, the storytelling, sharing my heart, telling my story. Less of a format, less of a structure, less teaching, and more sharing. And then there's the vibe of the series that I've been doing. I've gotten into a few different series, and they've been so awesome to do. It's been so cool to do these series because it's a bit of a different hat that I wear, and it's one of more of teaching or coaching. And there's more of a structure and a format, and while still raw and unedited and unscripted, and there is a bit more of a teaching aspect. And I really love doing both. And we just finished a series about emotional regulation. And I've been really going back and forth. I've been trying to decide what I want to do for the next, series or the next round of episodes. And I didn't know if I was going to take a break from the series style and just do some storytelling, just kind of share my heart, share life, that kind of thing, or if I wanted to do another series. And I've been thinking about this, and this hit me, and that's the purpose of this little teaser. I want y'all to know that I'm going to be doing a series, and this series is going to be tough for many reasons. Especially, well, if you would know, especially if you have been listening to all the episodes of Unfeigned. The series that I'm about to do is very personal. It hits very different for me because it's a part of my story. As all of this is, yes. But this specific aspect, this specific section of my story is very painful. It carries a lot of pain and a lot of shame and regret. And it was a major, pivotal, crucial aspect of my story and my healing. And this series that I'm about to do is going to be on the subject of infidelity. And the series I'm going to do is going to be, it's going to engage both sides. The person who did the betraying, as well as the person who was betrayed. And like I said, this is going to be very personal. It's going to hurt. For much of the series, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to revisit those painful places of my life and those areas that I've healed from, but yet still carry a lot of painful memories. There's going to be a lot of emotions involved, a lot of the same emotions that I had to heal from. And so it'll be heavy. It'll be really heavy. And especially if you've gone through it. If you're in a marriage where there's been infidelity, whether you've had an affair or your husband or wife has had an affair, your partner has an affair, this is going to be tough. But this series isn't just to talk about affairs. It's not just to share my story, because I've done that. Although this series will involve parts of my story and revisiting those parts. But this series is about how to restore a marriage, how to repair a marriage after infidelity. And we're going to get into what all of that means. We're going to unpack all the details of that. Obviously, I believe, if you've been listening to any of my episodes, you know that I believe that any marriage can be restored. Any relationship can be restored. Any relationship can be healed, no matter the degree of brokenness. And this series is going to be about just that. If you're in a marriage that has been stained by infidelity, that's been broken by infidelity, but you're really wanting to make it work, you're really wanting to repair and restore your marriage, this series will speak to you. So y'all, I wanted to make this announcement just to prepare y'all for what's coming. And it is going to be heavy, and there's going to be challenges to both sides. There's going to be a challenge to the people who were betrayed, and there's going to be challenges to the people who were unfaithful. And my hope is that as we get deep, as we get real, as I've done in the past on these episodes, I'm not going to pull any punches. Much of what I'll talk about is my story and has been inspired by my story. But my hope is that as we get real and as we dig real deep and we sit in this pain, and I say we because I've been there and I'm going to do this with you. I'm walking through this with you. And my hope is that as we sit in this pain and we go to these places that maybe we don't really want to, but are necessary, as we go to these places, that we'll see marriages restored. Nothing is too far gone. Any relationship can be healed. And so, y'all, I really hope that you'll tune in. I will, as always, I will post the teasers and the trailers and whatever you call them. I'll post them all to social media, right? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, really wherever else I can find to put them. So you'll know when the first episode in this series comes out, which could be as early as tomorrow. But I'll put all that up there, and my prayer is that this will be a really big part of this movement of healing. I've been saying this a lot over the last few weeks, that Unfeigned is a movement. It's not just a podcast. It's not just something that I'm talking about. It's a movement of healing. And this series is going to cover a subject that unfortunately is so common in so many marriages and so many people's lives. And it's so devastating. It's such a destructive tool. And I hope that we will see marriages repaired, restored, better than they ever were. So y'all, I'm looking forward to this, and I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll share this podcast with everybody. And as always, connect with me. No matter the heaviness, no matter what. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story. I want to connect with you. I want to do this with you. I want to walk in this with you. Connect with me. Go to the website, unfeigned.org. Look out for the teasers, trailers, whatever else they're called. as I start to post them on social media so that you can know exactly when the first episode in this series comes out. And again, if you haven't followed the podcast on Spotify, go ahead and do that. Y'all, thanks again. Talk to you soon.